Hey up YouTube, join me today on my journey with the Jet110 from Taco RC. There's only 15 grams of carbon here, not including the bolt, but the main base plate is 2.5mm thick and the sides 2mm thick, and if you have it, it'll fit a run cam split Mini 2. I built this for a test bed for a bunch of components, but after loving the Fighter 130 power system so much, I decided to put that in here and enjoy all the grunt with a nice 16.9 run cam Sparrow and some Gemfan Hulkies, both of which I intended to fit to the Lizard95 before I smooshed that frame and camera at smithereens a couple of months back. This seemed like a great idea to me at first, but the step up from Lizard 1104 6000 kV motors to 1105 7500 kV motors with the same 2.5 inch props is surprisingly not efficient, not past a hover anyway. Power isn't bad, but it can't hold a candle to those motors running the Fighter 3020 paddles. The Sparrow camera is just a version 1, but stepping up from a stock Lizard all-in-one type camera is such a massive improvement in clarity, and I really enjoy filling the 16:9 goggles without messing with the aspect ratio. It's stock here with only wide dynamic range enabled, and deals with bright sunlight with ease. There's some over-sharpening happening in the same way that the Runcam Eagle 2 Pro does, but that's about the only negative in my eyes on first use. As for the Jet110 from Taco RC, it's super roomy inside for just about any configuration, even a quadruple stack if that's what you wanted, a micro receiver and a 19mm wide CCD cam. There's still plenty of room to get to the OSD port on the camera to plug in the joystick and change settings, and there's a nice slot for the camera mounting screws that allows you to slide it forward and backwards so it's protected from full frontal hits into concrete or posts, while not getting any of the frame or props in view. The only minor point stopping it getting full marks all round is the lack of any countersunk holes on the bottom of the base plate. It's plenty thick for them, but this means that the screws that hold the FC mounting standoffs don't sit flush with the surface, making LiPo or Velcro mounting less than optimal. It's not too hard to fix, but it's not ideal. There is one screw that goes into the 3D printed LED and buzzer holder, which I'm not normally a fan of, but because it's been heated slightly before the screw was put in and it's made from the flexible TPU material, of which there's a decent amount of, there's actually some usable threads on there. And even if you left it out totally, the pair of horizontal standoffs that it's slid onto hold it super solid. It's not moving at all. The same material is used for the 3D printed motor mounts, which both protect the arms and act as soft mounts, which obviously work well, as I had no jello even with dinged up props at full throttle, which can be a weakness of the Sparrow camera, just as Curry Kitten showed among others. Interestingly, I didn't get any of the power issues dropping out that he also showed, even at full throttle at the end of a LiPo, and this is running off the same onboard BEC with much hungrier motors. I had a quick 3D test here with those Hulkies, but they're pretty terrible in reverse, so I recommend these for 6000 kV motors, not 7500, and I'd probably keep them down to 1104, because if you've got some meaty motors on there, they really draw some hefty current. At this point I was pretty sure I was going to change the configuration out so I could have less hungry motors for these little 2.5 inch props. So I stuck in my best 550mAh 3S GNB LiPo and had some aggressive line of sight.
This thing is absolutely brutal on batteries. These things, these Hulkies seem like more aggressive than the 3-inch flat paddle props I had on this before. Not more aggressive, sorry. More hungry. Yeah, that's red hot, that LiPo. So these Hulky props are anything but efficient. They're really power hungry beasts. They're sucking dry my LiPos in no time. and they're absolutely crap for 3D as well.
So, out with the 1106 7500 kV motors and the flight controller that has no working OSD, and in with some 1105 6000 kV motors from HDL-RC. So my intentions now are to treat this as a Lizard95 upgrade, as that was the best flying micro brushless that I've ever had for FPV. I did try these motors briefly on the Leader 120, but again I didn't really like them with the larger props compared to the 7500 kV stock ones, but that did show me that they run delightfully smooth. They weigh practically the same as the smaller 1104 6000 kV motors, offer more power, and due to the large cutouts around the base of the bell, cool really well too. This also makes it super easy to see if any mounting bolts are touching the motor windings, which was something that plagued the Lizard RTFs. This was the first flight with them running Betaflight 3.32 stock PIDs, and immediately it felt much more balanced across the entire throttle range, and full whack was much more efficient too. This is now running some Gemfan 2035 quad blades, as my Lizard was the most enjoyable on those. They may not be quite as durable as the Hulkies, but they fly super smooth and easier for me to judge how much of an upgrade the 1105 motors are on the stock Lizard, because that's pretty much all I flew on the 1104s. There's certainly a little more torque at the lower end, and they don't top out quite as early on punch out, which widens the power band nicely. With that said, they aren't worlds apart power wise and feel more of a quality upgrade than a power one. Absolutely the silkiest motors I've used in this class yet. The only question is how durable they turn out to be. I'm sure that question will be answered by the next couple of weeks of car park and forest bashing. They do draw a little bit more power, but they seem to affect 2S performance more than 3S, as I need an 800 mAh rather than 550 mAh 2S to get over 3 minutes of faster flight with occasional punch outs without feeling really limp. After a few lipos round here with way too many near misses with Aiden's 5-inch prop quad, we picked a route to stick to so I wouldn't end up getting minced. It was only one lap in till I clicked that the first circle round the goalpost could do just that, so I either had to stay really close or far enough away to let him pass first. I probably need some practice setting up a course. But for now, this quad is exactly where I want it, and it's going to be staying in this configuration. I'll be changing out some cameras and some antennas for testing, but this power system is staying in this frame.
That was a long ride. directness
I
of
hit the
that.
post too.
Never in my life did I imagine it'd be peace. Never in my life did I imagine it'd be peace. Never in my life did I imagine it'd be peace. Never in my life did I imagine it'd be peace.
Oh, hit the floor again. You want to go down the left hand side? I'll do my best to catch up. Okay. I got it. I hit the camera.